Welcome into Postgame Live with a combination of the Painted Lines and Edge of Philly Sports. I am Freddie Burns, and I have with me here Shane Half and Maddie B. We will be back with you shortly to discuss a tremendous Monday Night Football 24/7 Eagles win. What a game. What a game in stunning fashion, in my opinion. The Eagles beat the Minnesota Vikings at home 24-7. Offense, defense was tremendous. Both sides of the ball. I'm stunned. I'm really stunned right now. Let me go to Maddie B first. I have Maddie B here, Edge of Philly Sports, as well as Shane Half from the Painted Lines, most notably, and you see in his background, Chalk Talk. Great show to check it out. Maddie B, let me start with you. Live game reaction. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised, pleasantly surprised, shocked that this team could just do a systematically, 360 turnaround in terms of the most important aspect of this game, coaching. I mean, they were a coached football team tonight, boys, and I guess that's the product of great coaching because they put it to the Vikings. The Vikings never had a shot in this game. Kirk Cousins was off balance the entire night. Thrown off his back foot, 3 interceptions. Come on, man. I got to give it, man. Coaching won the day tonight, man. And it was the Eagles coaching.
Yes. Coaching was great as well. Shane, what's your live reaction? How you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, it felt good to see the defense look like a defense. I was thinking earlier of the last time the Eagles beat a good football team. I mean, you have like the Saints game and 2020, but Drew Brees was out in that game. So that didn't really count. The last time they beat a good team that had their starting quarterback, I think you have to go all the way back to like 2019, the Green Bay game where they ran the ball like 50 times against Green Bay or whatever it was. And it's been a long time and it feels good. I think the Vikings and the Eagles are both teams with their arrows pointing up in the NFC and the Eagles dismantled them tonight. So it feels good.
I was at that game at Lambeau, actually, Shane, and that I remember that game well. We were down 10-0 as well. That was a comeback game too. So let's start with, we talked about it at the halftime show. It continued the best performance I have seen out of Jalen Hurts, and for me, I'm a huge Wentz guy. I know it went south, but I was so big on him. And when he hit Sproles on that wheel route against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 3, I think the Eagles won 34-3. I'm like, all right, he's getting the offense. He understands it now. For me, Jalen Hurts, he was 26 of 31, 333 yards, a touchdown, an interception because Kenny Gainwell can't catch a damn screen. He also ran for 57 yards and had 2 rushing touchdowns. This was the coming out party for Jalen Hurts. Shane, you go first.
Yeah, it's 26-31, like you said. Had 5 incomplete passes. 2 of them were in a receiver's hands. His 1 interception comes on that Gainwell screen. He did everything you could have asked him to do tonight. And that doesn't even take into account like that beautiful pass he has rolling out left, and he gets his body pointed upfield, completes it to Quez Watkins. Gets negated on a penalty, holding penalty. Happens when you break the pocket sometimes, but that was a fantastic throw. He really played a near flawless game tonight. Easily the best game that he's played in his career. And, you hope it's not an aberration. You hope that we continue to build off of that. I thought the Vikings, not to get into them too much, but I thought their defensive game plan stunk. They did not come into the game the way I expected them to, and they never really adjusted. It was almost like Jonathan Gannon was calling plays for the Vikings tonight.
It was absolutely stunning that Ed Donatel, that's the Vikings defensive coordinator, did not make any adjustments. At halftime, we discussed it, and then you expected to see something different, and it was just like, They're still in zone. they're still doing the same exact thing. And even Aikman made the comment as well, like, what's going on here? Matty B, I was a critic of Hurts as well. I know you were,
Oh, I
and
still am.
may still be. But
Yes.
tonight, how you feeling on Hurts tonight's game?
Yeah, I'm going to jump on the same train. This was by hands down his best start ever as an Eagle. Might have been his best start ever as a quarterback, going all the way back to Pop Warner. Who knows? But yeah, he did everything well. He held the pocket when he could. He kept the play alive. He didn't. His first instinct wasn't not to run. I mean, he mixed the ball up. He was hitting receivers everywhere. It wasn't just the A.J. Brown show tonight. It was an equal mix of everybody. And when he had to run, he ran. He ran well. I still don't like the way he gets hit. He takes way too many hits for my taste. I'm just not digging that. But you cannot find a flaw with his game tonight. Not one.
They put a stat up, a single game Eagles, and it happened to be the Michael Vick game, which ironically for quarterbacks for throw. So ironically, they both threw for exactly 333 yards. Remember that Washington game with Vick? And he had 2 rushing touchdowns. They both had 2 rushing touchdowns. I got that feeling tonight. I was texting with my friends today, and I'm just like, they're not winning tonight, and they're probably going to go down to Washington and blow that. Like, that was my feeling going into this game. And my buddy texted me, I'm all over the place. I'm actually, he said that first, and I agree with him. He's like, I'm all over the place. I feel like if they win, though, I feel like they're going to be 5-0. And I laughed at him like, yeah, right. They're not going 5-0. And then this game tonight got me so excited. I'm starting to think about 5-0. Like, I'm starting to think, like, is this team for real? Because like you said, Shane, we have not beaten a good team in so long. It's just been so long. I couldn't believe in last year. We barely beat the crappy teams last year that we did win. So it's very exciting to see Eagles football. Do you guys share my excitement and joy? Go ahead, Shane, first.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You looked at this game as a litmus test, and you look at the games going forward at Washington, versus Jacksonville, at Arizona, versus the Cowboys, and then into the bye. Like, those are all winnable games. None of those teams are as good as the Vikings, at least as good as I think the Vikings are. 2 weeks in, it's hard to tell. But when I looked at the first 6 weeks of the schedule, I said that week 2 game was the hardest game, and the Eagles won it convincingly. So you have to feel good about their chances to get to the bye at least 5-1. Maybe you can get to the bye 6-0.
6-0. Oh my gosh. Matty B, I will talk about the coaching in a little bit, and I want to get into the defense, but just overall, as a fan, covering the team, excitement level right now.
So, as you guys may or may not know, I'm not Howie Roseman's biggest fan. I'm not, and I still don't like. I just don't like him as a general manager. But, I mean, how can you not be excited? I don't want to sit here and root for the Eagles to lose every week. It pains me to do that. And tonight was one of those games where I kept waiting for the other shoe to fall, but it never did, and that's to the Eagles' credit. That was to the Eagles' credit. Their play. When they were up 14-0, it was 14-7. I'm like, oh, here we go. And then they didn't. They held their ground. And the defense, 4 interceptions through 2 weeks. I mean, come on, man. I mean, that's even the bad defensive performance last week. They got an INT, and that was a pick 6. So you gotta you can't not be excited. And you're right. We've kind of gotten through that part of the schedule, at least in the early spot, that everybody thought that we were going to lose, and then now we got 2 games that we should definitely win the next 2. So how can you not? How can you not be excited?
Yeah, the Vikings have a lot of firepower on that offense. They only have 61 yards rushing. Granted, they were down, so that they had to throw. But Kirk Cousins, 27 of 46, 221 yards, 1 touchdown pass, and 3 interceptions. He was sacked twice for negative 19 yards, quarterback rating of 51. Iowa too was waiting for the other shoe to drop in that second half, and the Vikings came out taking everything Jonathan Gannon gave them, the underneath stuff, and they dinked and dunked their way down the field. And I'm like, oh, is this what we're going to see here? Is this the adjustment their offense has made to beat our defense? And then Darius, big play Slay, or no, was that Slay on that, or was it Maddox on that one?
That was Slay was the first one.
First one. So Slay with a huge defensive interception to halt that drive, and I feel like that just overflowed with turnovers from there. Shane, if you want to get into how you feel the defense played tonight.
Yeah, I thought the defense played really well. You saw them put Kirk Cousins under a lot of pressure, and Kirk Cousins was seeing ghosts out there by the end of the game. In the first half, he felt comfortable. He wasn't necessarily under a lot of pressure. Once they started to get home, though, I mean, you saw the last interception in the end zone that he just threw it up off his back foot. He did that 2 plays in a row, and I don't know how Slay dropped the first one, but he comes down with the second one. Once they got Cousins off of his back foot, it was over. And I thought Gannon did a good job tonight dialing up blitzes on third down and in key situations. That's not something we've seen. We saw him do it once in the Detroit game, and then he just stopped. It's not something we've seen a lot, but I felt like his plan today was better. And we talked at halftime. It's a plan that will get you burned sometimes. Putting Slay one-on-one with Justin Jefferson, he's going to lose that sometimes. He didn't lose it tonight.
Slay one-on-one with Justin Jefferson was amazing, because I have been a Slay's a good corner guy, but I feel like we've seen, since his time here anyhow, when he goes up against a number one receiver, he's not really big play Slay. He held his own a little bit against Metcalf the one game, but like Metcalf definitely got his, and I just felt that way, that he was just a solid 2. Tonight he played like a number one corner. I believe when guarded by Jefferson, I think it was 5 targets. Jefferson only had 1 catch. Just amazing play out of Slay tonight. Matty B, how is your feeling on the defense?
So whenever you can have a defense that's aggressive, deceptive, and opportunistic, it's always going to work out, I think, in your favor. And that's exactly what the Eagles were tonight for me. They were aggressive the way they were dialing up their blitzes. I do not like Hassan Reddick in pass coverage. I'm seeing way too much of that, and that's not a good thing. That needs to stop. And when he's in pass rush, he is a force to be reckoned with. He brings the play. He garners a lot of attention from the offensive line. Deceptive, they were hiding a lot of their stuff. They were hiding a lot of their stuff. A lot of cover ones going to cover two going to cover one, and then safety blitz. And so I liked seeing that. And then opportunistic, jumping lanes, jumping routes, and looking for the ball. Whenever you do those 3 things, you're going to win. And if they run this similar game plan next week, Carson Wentz is going to spend a lot of time on the ground. He's going to spend a lot of time on the ground next week.
I think Jonathan Gannon, he looked good, and there was an improvement, but I even more so think the defensive line got push, and that enabled him to be able to dial up those blitzes and actually succeed on them, and they were timely, because you could see the front 4 or 5, depending on what formation he came out in, they may not have gotten the sack, but Kirk Cousins certainly did not have all day, and then when he brought the blitzes there at the end, it just was like it was Jim Johnson-esque actually, because it was exciting. You could see Cousins just like flabbergasted. He just didn't know how to handle it whatsoever. I agree with you, Matty B. We actually talked about it at halftime. I don't know what this Hassan Reddick coverage thing was. Like, they were talking about it in training camp, and I was like, they're just running that as like a deception thing. That can certainly be a problem, against other teams.
I mean, he can't pass coverage at all. He can't. I mean, and I don't think it's his strong suit anyway. I mean, he's an edge rusher, right? I mean, I don't know what he's doing out there, honestly.
I don't have a problem with, occasionally when you've got him lined up on the line and that 5 across look, where you're not always going to bring 5 guys, you've got to drop him every once in a while so it's not predictable. But I have a problem with him lining up in the slot over a tight end where he's obviously in coverage. The one I tweeted out where he misses the tackle on Jefferson, he wasn't even in the box at the snap. Like, those are the ones that kill me. Like, I don't mind you, if he's dropping off of the line 10, 12% of the snaps, that's fine. There should never be a circumstance where he's on the field and he's not on the line of scrimmage at the snap, though. That just doesn't make sense.
He should never be anywhere near coverage with he shouldn't even be in position to miss a tackle on Justin Jefferson. But but hey, Gannon is growing and he's learning. We do have to recognize that. I don't believe he had the personnel last year. I agree he was a mess last week. This is a good step for him. How did you guys feel about the linebacker play? It's been a gripe for years, and I know it was a good game overall, but there was no complaints from me whatsoever. I feel like they filled the holes on the few running plays that there were, 11 carries there were, and they were fine in coverage. How'd you feel about the linebackers? Matty B, go first.
Yeah, and it's a good thing when you can't really target a position group and say, you know what, this is what's going on, because they're doing their jobs and they're all working together. And I really couldn't sit here and tell you and critique the linebacker corps, with the exception maybe of Hassan Reddick and being kind of caught out there, and you mentioned in those Justin Jefferson plays. But that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. They were doing their job. Shane, I got to ask you a question. Based off of last week, what's the Jordan Davis tracker? I mean, on the defensive line, was he out there more? Was he? Where was his number? Have you compiled that yet?
No, I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and chart that when I can get better views of it, because that's so hard to keep track of real time. So I'm not sure on that. As far as linebackers go, though, I thought TJ Edwards had a really good game, led the team in tackles, had that clutch breakup on third down, had a QB hit, had a pressure up the middle. Kazir White, I didn't notice White in the game in a good or a bad way. I was looking at the box score and I saw he had 5 tackles and he had a pass defensed.
I saw that play.
Must have missed that one. I'm not sure, but yeah. So no complaints from me with the linebackers. We could talk about Hassan Reddick. I kind of lump him more in as an edge rusher there, but I thought Edwards played a really good game, and I didn't notice White, so I guess that's a good thing.
The linebackers were great. Avonte Maddox with a great game, 8 total tackles, 4 solo. He had that big interception after the blocked field goal. Overall, I thought he played outstanding in the slot. Everyone had a good, nice game tonight. I don't have really any complaints. I have one complaint, and it has nothing to do with the game. Bradley Cooper wearing, and it's a pet peeve of mine, but like, I'm glad you're at the game. You're an Eagles fan. I hate when people go to Eagles games and wear Sixers stuff, or go to Flyers games and wear Eagles jerseys. He had an Allen Iverson shirt on. It kind of aggravated me. What's your guys' thoughts? Just real quick, not barely about the game, but that's a pet peeve of mine. If you go to the Eagles game, you wear Eagles stuff. Am I wrong?
I'll take that. I'll go first. Yeah, I agree with you. But what do you do if you're a member of the Kansas City Chiefs football team? What do you go to the Eagles game wearing then? Because I'd be a little pissed off if I was Chiefs Nation seeing Travis Kelce sitting up in there, and I got it, it's his brother, but still, he's wearing decked out in Eagles gear, man. What's going on with that? He's drinking a beer? Yeah, no, give me
wearing your brother's jersey.
No, I don't care, man. Blood team's thicker than blood, man. Come on, I'd be pissed. Then again, I'm not right in the head. So, as far as what you guys are saying, yeah, you're right. That's pandering. That goes pandering too. When you overboard the Philadelphia paraphernalia, stick with the team that you're there to see. And then you're in. You're an Eagle fan. You're allegedly from the Philadelphia area. We got you. You don't have to go hardcore and sport your entire, closet of Eagles and Flyers and Sixers stuff.
Travis Kelce was also in Seattle this summer singing the Eagles fight song as well.
Exactly. What's going on with that?
Brotherly love, baby. Supporting his brother.
I was going to say, speaking of pandering, man, I wanted to see a flea flicker. Just get that NFC title game throwback, but
the flicker would have been sweet.
Yeah, I was waiting for it. Nick Sirianni seems to pander a little bit himself with some of his apparel choices, so I was waiting on it, but it never happened.
Well, the fans certainly pandered. I felt like I tweeted out, I need a Skull/Foles mock chant, and like right after that, there was a tweet from Brandon Lee Gouton of Bleeding Green Nation saying the Eagles fans are doing the Skull chant again, and I'm just like, dude, I love it. How about the booing of Jalen Reagor? How amazing was that? That was like the vet tonight. That had some juice. I haven't seen the link like that since probably the last time the Vikings were at the link. Shane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. Honestly, I don't get the beef, the talk of a revenge game for Reagor. Like, revenge for what? The team that took you in the first round when they obviously shouldn't have and stuck with you longer than they should have. And for the record, I don't get all the alleged beef that's just popped up all of a sudden with Justin Jefferson and the Eagles. Like, the Eagles were a dumpster fire then. You're really mad they passed on you and you went 1 pick later and set a whole bunch of records as a rookie. Like, I don't get it. It's stupid. And, you put your mind on stuff like that and you see what happens. So
it's so stupid.
It's just stupid. Yeah.
Those two are ridiculous, especially I could see Reagor, you know what I mean? He was here. He felt like he was, I know he sucked, but like, you know what I mean? I could understand that a little bit. Justin Jefferson starting to beef for no reason. Like, dude, get out of here. And you, like you said, you saw what happened. Did you enjoy the booze, Matty B, for Reagor?
No, because Jalen Reagor stinks. I mean, it'd be like us booing J-Jaw if he ever hooked on with another team and came back here. He was such an irrelevant member of this team. Now I got the draft thing, but be honest with you, though, Reagor had one of the better plays that Minnesota had offensively tonight. That little jet sweep across the line there. That was like the one of their only exciting plays, and I think the only time he got on the field other than special teams. But nah, I mean, let's save the booze for the Cowboys, because Jalen Reagor is such a non-entity when it comes to that.
I thought you were going to say his best play was the fair catch he had.
I thought you were going to say it was the drop he had, but
well, it may have been early, and if we have the same one, maybe give a second one. I'll start with Shane. What do you think was the defining moment, the defining play of the game that kind of was the turning point to turn this game the way it was going to go?
I'm going to go with one in the second half where I got scared, is when the Vikings blocked that field goal, and it looked like they were going to run it back, and Siposs is able to make the tackle, which is, by the way, if you scoop up a blocked field goal and you get run down by a punter, you might need to find a different career path. But then Darius Slay comes out a couple plays later and he gets that interception. But that was a moment. You're up 24-7. The Vikings moved the ball and then threw an interception in the red zone. You move it back down the field. If they scoop that and score, all of a sudden it's 14-24. It's a 10-point game and the momentum swings. I don't know what happened. I mean, the offense didn't really get going after that. It's a different game, so you call plays a little differently. But that was huge. That was a huge moment.
Shane, I couldn't agree more. I actually tweeted that out. I'm seeing the guy run. I'm like, what hustle by this guy? The Siposs, when I forget, there was 2 punters that got cut in the training camp on other teams, Buffalo and so I think Denver, and people were just clamoring to go get these other guys. And not that he's the greatest punter. I don't think he's done anything really wrong. But when I see players hustle, he didn't have that tells me he's got something inside to hustle his butt off and go make that play. And I agree with you. That's 7 points there, and that's 24-14. And now the pressure starts. Now there's a momentum swing. So that was certainly a huge play in this game. Matty B, what was your play?
I'm going to go way, way back to the first half, boys. That right there at the end when the Eagles got pinned down in the 5-yard line, and Hurts took them all the way down the field. And I know it was only a field goal, but that was a huge momentum play to kind of stick it to the Vikings, because the Vikings thought they were going to go in the half down 21-7, and they were able to rally a great drive at the end of the half, and they got 3 points out of it. To me, that was the air out of the Viking balloon. I know it's way back there in the first half, but I think that went a long way in the way the second half played out.
Well, both of you took my 1 and 2, to be honest with you, because I was going to use both of those as my backup. So I'm going to go off the cuff with my third one, because I really felt this when it happened. And it's not really a play, I guess. It's that second drive, the Vikings' first drive, when the Eagles' defensive line was getting pushed up the middle. I'm like, they came to play tonight. This is going to be a game where the defense shows. So I guess it's kind of a cheap answer, because it wasn't really a turning point. But for me, or it wasn't really a play, but for me, that was a turning point, as setting the tone. No, this isn't going to be like the Vikings game. We're going to attack, and we're going to make plays. What else do I have down here? Oh, yeah, player of the game. I'm going to take, since you guys took my first 2, I'm going to take the obvious first one then easily now. Jalen Hurts. We all agreed that was the best game he's had as a pro, and he was just outstanding. He deserves it too. He puts the work in. He's a leader. He's trying his hardest to be that guy, and if he can make throws, be decisive. There were a couple, he got the ball out within 2 seconds, 2-3 seconds. That's what we want, make quick decisions. And other times it wasn't there. He would scramble out and throw a dart, like the called back throw to Quez Watkins. So my player of the game is without a doubt Jalen Hurts. Matty B, who's your player of the game?
So I'm going to go with the other obvious one, Darius Slay and his 2 INTs. Huge game from Slay when he was paired up with Justin Jefferson. Just a pain in his ass all night long, and that's what you want out of your number 1 DB. And owning up that big play Slay moniker tonight in a big way. Not a Slay guy, but tonight his best game is an Eagle, in my opinion, as well.
All right. Well, I will go with Avonte Maddox then. After the aforementioned punt or block on the field goal, Siposs runs the guy down. The Vikings still have the ball at the 30-yard line, and a couple of plays later, Avonte Maddox sinks under that route by Thielen, and he comes up with the interception to keep the Vikings off the board. So that was a big turning point. Really put the Eagles back in the driver's seat for that game.
if you had to place credit to one side of the ball, I know in the rundown I didn't put it this way, but I think this is a better way to go about it. Who would you credit the win to? The offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball? Go ahead, Matty B.
I'm going to go with defense. Of a night of best, was this John Gannon's best defensively called game of his career, at least here in Philadelphia? I would say so. I mean, you can't overlook it. Did John Gannon have a great scheme, or did Minnesota play down to the scheme, and was Minnesota not as creative as they needed to be? Really, we can debate that all day long, but John Gannon came to play tonight. Maybe he felt the pressure. Maybe he felt like his reputation was finally like getting to a point where he had to fight for it. So I'm going to go defense all the way.
Shane, offense or defense?
I'll go offense. Now, obviously, both sides played great, but I thought the offense set the tone. Hurts comes out on that first drive, looks great. Later we get that bomb to Quez Watkins that ignites the link. And, they didn't score in the second half, but they got down, to chip shot field goal range and it got blocked. That's not on the offense. And, after that, you're kind of trying to run clock out. So they weren't necessarily trying to be explosive anymore. But I'll say the offense thought they played a great game.
I'm going to agree with you on the offense. I think if we don't have that big of a lead, I'm not sure that Gannon calls the game that he calls. So getting a big lead up early relaxes everything, and that was a huge benefit for the defense. But again, both played great. For those tuning in, this is Edge of Philly Sports and the Painted Lines combo post-game live. We have a ton of these. We're going to be with you all season long, and one of the weeks we're going to be with you is we obviously got next week, and we'll get to next week quickly with the Redskins playing Carson Wentz. But I just want to talk about October 2nd. We are going to have a live show at the South House in South Philadelphia. It's a 1 p.m. game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Doug Peterson comes home. Hopefully he definitely will get his standing ovation. We're going to have a pregame and postgame show there live, and then there'll be a halftime show via StreamYard online as well. So get down there. It's a great place. They have great food, great beers. We're going to have some halftime giveaways that coordinates with the online show. So get down there at the South House October 2nd. Before October 2nd, though, we're going into now week 3, 2-0. The Giants are 2-0 as well, and you have the 1-1 Redskins and the 1-1 Commanders. I still say it, and the 1-1. I'm not going to say their name. I'm not even going to say their name. But how are we feeling going into the Redskins game? Quickly, I don't want to do a whole pregame of that, but how are we feeling going into the Redskins? Shane, go first.
The Commanders are. With the Dak injury, the Commanders are the team that the Eagles are competing against now. I think they clearly have a better roster. I thought it was an interesting point of comparison to see them play Detroit on Sunday, and they struggled with Detroit's offense as well. So maybe Detroit's going to be decent this year. It's the Carson Wentz roller coaster. What kind of game are you going to get from Wentz? And so I feel good about the Eagles' chances in that game, but it is a big moment in the early season between the two teams I think will compete for the division that are both 2-0.
How about you, Matty B?
Yeah, I kind of agree. The Carson Wentz factor is a different thing. Now it's probably going to be a little bit different in their park than it is here. That's a whole nother story. This is week 3. This is an interesting game for the Eagles. This is a huge game for the Birds. This could swing the season for them in a big way. If they can go down and win this game and get off to a 3-0 start, then as you guys mentioned, you can come home against Jacksonville. That should be a win. I mean, that's the best case scenario that everybody wanted 4-0 to start the season. And I think everybody saw it, a road to it, but no one wanted to admit it. I certainly didn't want to admit it. I think this is a huge game, and I think the Eagles need to come out more amped up than they did for this one, because this is it's a divisional game. It's a 2-game swing game. So 3-game if you're talking conference. So it's huge. It's huge for the Eagles to get off on the NFC East slate in a positive way. One other question before we cut up. Jordan Mailata. I want to ask your guys' opinion on him. I have not been impressed with his first 2 games this season. Am I seeing something wrong, or is he struggling a little bit this year?
In my opinion, tonight he had a couple where the head scratcher plays. The one off the edge where Hurts was sacked. I see his first year when his first time playing time wise, everyone was like really behind him. I thought he just played average. Last year, I think he played more on a Pro Bowl level. This year, I agree. It's more back to average. I don't want to say he's playing terrible, but I think it's more of an average line. Shane, what do you feel?
I thought he had a good game in week 1. I thought the offensive line got a lot of feelings from people that they didn't play well, when in reality the Lions were just blitzing a ton, and a lot of times they were bringing 6 guys and there were only 5 blockers and things like that. So I think he charted out with like giving up 2 pressures week 1. I know the one play I put up on Twitter that I said Mailata just got dusted, but I'm not sure why Hurts was taking a 5-step drop out of the shotgun. Like, he planted at the top of his drop 11 yards deep. And so, I mean, that's kind of in a territory where, as a left tackle, if I'm pushing that guy 11 yards deep, my quarterback shouldn't be in harm's way. So he's one I'm anxious to go rewatch the tape, because there was a few. My initial reaction on that one was he got beat, and then I thought about it. I was like, well, he took him 11 yards deep. So I do kind of want to rewatch that before I comment too much. But I thought he was okay. I didn't notice, anything that just was glaringly bad. But I do want to review it, because it wasn't like glaringly good either, I guess.
And before I wrap up, I just want to say both of these guys are outstanding with the content that they put on for the Painted Lines and Edge of Philly Sports. Matty B does a show, Fighting's Final, every post game of the Phillies. That's a lot of games. That's a lot of games to do that for. And he also has his own show on Tuesday nights to check out. Shane, I just got turned on to Shane. He was going back and forth with Seth Joyner. But by the way, I meant to say that earlier. I got my Seth Joyner jersey on tonight, actually. We were talking about that earlier a little bit at halftime show. I didn't put 2 and 2 together. But Shane's stuff, he really breaks down the film in a way to make everyone else understand, and I really enjoy his stuff as well. So both of you guys are doing an amazing job. I just want to go real quick through the entire Edge of Philly Sports and Painted Line schedule here. I'm not going to go through every one, but just pointing out Talking Sports with Matty B, 9 o'clock on Tuesdays. I believe, Shane, we air you the following day, but when does your show actually air live?
Yeah, so we go live somewhere 9:15 to 10ish, somewhere in there. It kind of depends on when my Birds of the Roundtable show ends up and when my co-host frees up. But so yeah, we do Chalk Talk every Tuesday night. It is a full NFL review. So we always lead off with the Eagles, spend like 20, 25 minutes talking about the Eagles game, and then we go around all the league games, recap all of them. And then Thursday or Friday during the day, I do a solo preview show for the next week with picks and stuff. But Tuesday night's the big show, kind of recapping all the week's action for, Eagles fans. Really tuned into the Eagles game, not this week because it wasn't at noon on Sunday or 1 on Sunday, but we missed a lot of stuff. And so kind of getting people up to speed on everything they might have missed.
So Tuesday nights, and I actually did it last Tuesday. I went back to back. I went Matty B. I commented all over his show, and then I went right into Shane's show after, and it was awesome. It was a great Tuesday night for me and very, very informative. So great stuff. Anyone listening now, please hit the subscribe button. Do us a favor, share this show out. And also, we're looking for advertisers. Anyone out there that wants to advertise, this is a great show with great content. A lot of people watching. Get in contact with me, and we'll get that hooked up. Anything else that you guys want to talk about?
I don't think so. The amount of coffee I'm going to have to drink to get up in the morning, maybe, but
yeah, I hate Monday night games. I hate them. I really do. It's just, they throw off your week. Thankfully, they won. That's a plus. But boy, they throw off your week, don't they?
Yeah.
I tweeted on Sunday. I'm like, I'm old now. I now get why the old heads wanted the 1 and the 4 o'clock, because we don't want to stay up late doing this. And they've made it late. Was Monday Night Football always this late? I feel like when we were kids, maybe we were just kids.
No, it was 9 o'clock when I was a kid. It used to come on at 9.
So they have worked with us a little bit. And Shane, I don't want too much complaining over there. We're on the East Coast here. You're in Oklahoma. You got a couple hours on us, man.
That's true. I do have an hour on you, but I've also got 3 second graders, so it balances out.
Okay. Well, great show tonight, guys. For Shane Half and Matty B, I'm Freddie Burns. Tune in all week to Edge of Philly Sports and the Painted Lines, but we'll be back here 11 a.m. for our pregame show. Painted Lines, Edge of Philly Sports. We'll see you guys soon. Go Birds.
Of course.
Words.